Let's turn our attention to the football then this afternoon, and we'll begin with the ECAP FA Cup first round. And the headlines, Tony Mepham belonged to Colby, the Moonlighters, 1-0 against Douglas Athletic at a very, very blustery Station Fields.
Yeah, I heard about that one, and it was a really tight game. And I think it was just nip and tuck right the way through from what I was hearing. Some great saves by Colby's goalkeeper, Rhys Lake as well, was causing a few problems for Douglas Athletic, but it just wouldn't run for them. But if you want to find a goal scorer, you've got Carl Hickey there, but also you've got Luke Roberts, and it was Luke Roberts who got the goal on the 87th minute. So too late really for Douglas Athletic to get themselves back into it, and the Division 2 side beat the Premiership side. So well done to Colby, but we did say at lunchtime that it could happen because Colby, top of the league, playing really well. And today they put a performance in and got the result away from Athletic.
I believe that goal in the 87th minute came courtesy, unfortunately, for Douglas Athletic of a bit of a defensive mistake. And, he was on hand to lash it into the back of the net.
Well, that's a sign of a good forward. And, I watched Luke recently. It was against Onken and played really well, young lad. And, it's really nice to see that these players can come through and put in performances like that. And it gives the club a massive lift as well, because that Division 2 is so tight, Tim, that, it's important that you keep the momentum going. It's a nice problem to have because it's a cup fixture to go in where they've still got league games to go. But as Division 2 closes in now a little bit, because Colby have played more games than some of them around them, it's great to watch them at the moment do so well in this cup, and we'll see who they come up with in the draw later on.
Yeah, quarter-final draw still to come. Another Division 2 side currently in second place in one of the two promotion spots at the moment. Ayr United, they didn't disgrace themselves playing the Premier League champions. It was Ayr 1, St Mary's 3. It looked comfortable for St Mary's at half-time, but there was a scare.
Certainly did, because Jack McVeigh got the first one from the penalty spot, and it was early on, so St Mary's hopefully build on that one. But they had to wait until the 33rd, 35th minute, I think it was. Josh Kelly with his first goal back playing since his injury in the Charity Shield.
Yeah.
Great to see him back. He's a great player, and he rifled one in to make it 2-0. Then it was Dean Tate who got a penalty. I believe it was Alex Harrison caused the problem. And Dean coolly put the penalty away to make it 2-1. So it's all to play for. But then towards the end of the game, it was Craig Murphy who got the third one. So doesn't matter. It's a cup game. St Mary's go through. But United gave up a good fight, and now they'll concentrate on Division 2.
In fact, all the Division 2 sides can come away with their heads held high, battling Foxdale 0, Russian 3 at Billygoat Park.
Well, he can, and, it was never really in doubt, Tim, for Russian to win this one, I don't think, because...
But Foxdale didn't let the heads drop.
No, they didn't, and, Will Pelholrick at the back for Foxdale I thought was immense. He kept things nice and tight, and Jay Chatwood up front. In the second half, he had 2 or 3 really good chances. There was one where he just opened himself up, and I thought he was going to get it in past the goalkeeper in the post. But Dean Kearns managed to just touch it away. But it was a good battling performance for them. You can see why Foxdale are doing well in Division 2. But Stevie Ryden it was who got the first one for Rush, and the second one I thought was superb. Good work down the right-hand side. The cross was in, and about a minute before half-time, Greg Norris was there, head it in. Nice touch by him, and it was looking comfortable at half-time. But in the second half, it was a bit windy up there as well. The chances were still there for them, but they just couldn't sort of finish. And Barton Beaumont pulled off a couple of good saves for Foxdale, but Greg Norris it was who got his second of the game to make it comfortable for Rush, and in the end, 3-0 win.
And I saw at half-time it was Onken 2, Peel 3, and I thought it was a good old game going on up there. But Peel ran away with it in the second half and won 6-2, and they had a few youngsters making debuts for the first team.
Well, he did, and it's great to see, and let's have a look at one of them. Jack Elliott, his first senior goal for Peel, so well done, Jack. Dan Simpson got a couple of goals. Dan's on fire at the moment. Danny Lane as well, good young player coming through. Karen Christian, not so young, but very, very experienced. And Karen's, fantastic to have back in that team because he missed a few games through injury, and he's playing well now. An own goal as well, but as you rightly say, it was 3-2 at half-time, but Onken took the lead, Tim. Nigel Moody it was who scored the first after, I think it was 3 or 4 minutes. So Onken had a great start. Kieran Kreipner got the other one. But I've been asked to mention it was an overall superb day to watch a game of football with the atmosphere that was up there, because there was good support from Peel in the stand and everything else like that, and it was just great to watch. Great referee performance as well, and I'm pretty certain that they went in afterwards and had some sausage and chips, and all round, well done to everyone. It was a super afternoon to watch a game of football.
Ramsey 2, Old Boys 1. 2 penalties to the Northerners got them in the hat.
Yeah, and it was 2-1 at half time. We've been trying to find out Ramsey's scorers, so if you could please text us through 166 177. John Quirk got the goal for Douglas High School Old Boys. They'll be disappointed with that. I think they were confident enough that they had enough to get in, but well done to Ramsey. Okay, 2 penalties, doesn't matter. If the same person scored the 2 goals, Tim, you've got to hold your nerve, haven't you? And you know, Ramsey have done it today, and it'd be lovely to know who scored the goals. 2
games. I mean, this is the Alaman Football Association's Premier Cup competition, so disappointing to see 2 games not being played. Sympathy, I think, with Pulrose, because they've only got the 1 team anyway at the moment, haven't they? They haven't got a combi team playing, but they couldn't get a team out against St George's. And Malou couldn't play against Douglas Royal, but the combination could, which seems odd.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of phone calls to say, why did you allow it to happen? The information that I've received is that Malou turned around and said that the combination players would not step up to fulfil the cup game. So it's a bit of a dilemma. I totally agree, Tim. We'll review this now, not this particular fixture. We'll review this. Something has to seriously happen, because
it does make a mockery of a Premier Cup competition, doesn't it?
Well, it does, because let's have a look at the big picture of this one. You know, Malou chose not to play because they said they were weakening a lot of players away. I understand that a lot more footballers or sports people do go away, but when you look at the combi score, Malou 10, Governors Athletic 1. You can't tell me that those players couldn't have stepped up, but that's Malou's choice. They've made the decision, but certainly for next year, these rules need to be tightened up, because it is not fair that Douglas Royal and St George's have been penalised today with no game of football. I agree, Pulrose, different scenario. They had 9 players. They still could have played because the rules allow that, but they chose not to. They haven't got a combination side. They're battling to keep things together for a Saturday. But Malou, I think it's a little bit disappointing that the players wouldn't play for the first team. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay, it was Chris Duggan that got both the penalties for Ramsey, I can tell you.
Excellent.
So well done to him. Held his nerve and has got the Northerners into the hat. Let's go to JCK Limited Division 2. And at the top of the table, St John's get an important win, 6-1 against Braddon. Braddon probably slipping out of contention now.
I think they are now, and what a half-time score in this one, 1-1, Tim. So great second half performance by St John's. Richard Wynn with a hat-trick. Paul Whitehead, his strike partner, with a couple. Ray Lovell as well with a goal for St John's. Lee Cura got the goal for Braddon, and that's great result that for St John's when we come to another one in a minute, Union Mills. And I think Braddon now struggling big time if they're going to get promoted, and they'll be looking to see if they can get qualified for the Paul Henry.
2 teams drop a couple of points in the battle for promotion. Union Mills 2, Michael 2.
Yeah, I don't think Michael sort of getting involved in that, but it was 1-1 at half time. But as we've touched on before, Michael's results over the last 2 or 3 games have been pretty impressive. They're improving big time, and that's a big result for them today. Jordan Crawley and Jack Murray were the goal scorers for Union Mills. Haven't got Michael's goal scorers, so if you could please text us through 166 177 and we'll give the scorers a mention.
Jim's 1, Douglas and District 1.
Yeah, D&D scored first, 1-0 it was at half-time. Mark Quirk with the goal for D&D. Haven't got Jim's goal scorer, but I believe the goal was really late on in the game.
Before we go into the combination, thank you for the multiple texters telling us that it was Chris Duggan that got the 2 penalties. But, one just to point out here as well, which is nice to do, that the referee today was outstanding, according to this texter, which is always good to hear.
Yeah, it is.
Let's go into the combination 1 then. Castletown 0, Peel 5.
1-0 at half-time to Peel. Liam Knifton with 1. Izzy Dunn got a goal. Alec Ekalongo, I think it is, Aaron Castaigne, and Stephen Oliver was the other goal scorer for Peel. So it keeps the pressure on the top boys. It's in that combination one. What is it now? It's St Mary's, Corinthians, and also Russian as well.
Haven't got the score still from around
Nope.
Ramsey. No.
Nope.
Old Boys 0, St George's 12.
And it was 5-0 at half time. A couple of first teamers in here. It does help, doesn't it? Callum Morrissey with 2. Joel Ibanez got a hat trick. Ben Wazzer as well with another hat trick. Well done, Ben. Josh Kane got a couple of goals. Lucas James and Chris Walsh got the other one for St George's.
And in combination 2, it was Braddon 2, Ramsey Youth Centre 3.
Yeah, 1-1 at half time, and this is top against second. So it's looking as if this
might
title.
as well give it to Youthy now.
Yeah, it is, because
it's like Liverpool in the Premier League.
Yeah, they haven't dropped a point. And Mark McClurg with 2. Well done, Mark. And Matt Sybil got the other one. But it was tight at half time, 1-1.
Maloo 10, Governors Athletic 1.
Yeah, 4-1 at half time to Maloo. David Kelly with 4. Andrew Barber, Kieran Colton, Michael Pardew. Brian Ring got a couple of goals and an own goal as well. I haven't got Governors Athletics goal scorer.
And Michael 4, Union Mills 3. Sounds a good game.
It sounds a really good game, but unfortunately I haven't got any scorers.
We shall leave it there then in that case. We have got a cup draw to do, if I can find my paperwork. You did give me it as well, didn't you, before we came up? There it is, right at the bottom of the pile. So this is the ECAP FA Cup quarter-finals draw. And we've got actually 10 sides in there because of a slight quirk in that.
It's been a while since
and for obvious reasons as well. But it'll be ball number 3, Laxey or Corinthians or Ramsey Youth Centre. So that's going to take some writing out. So 4 fixtures to draw. And Sam Spooner is in the studio and is going to make that draw for us. So let's crack on.
First one out of the hat, number 4.
Number 4 is Peel, so a home tie for the holders.
Against number 8.
And they play St Mary's. Peel versus St Mary's.
And number 7.
Number 7 is St George's.
Against number 5.
St George's play Ramsey.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Russian.
Number 2.
And they play Douglas Royal.
Number 1.
Number 1 is Colby.
And number 3.
And they play Laxey Corinthians or
Ramsey Youth
Centre and Old Boys. So the draw for the ECAP FA Cup quarter-finals, these games to be played on the 7th of March. Peel against St Mary's, St George's against Ramsey, Russian against Douglas Royal, and Colby against Laxey Corinthians or Ramsey Youth Centre. I don't think I've ever done that bit before.
I don't
3
think I have.
teams
Yeah, and it's a
together
shame.
there. They're going to have to wait to know who they're going to get as a reward for beating Douglas Athletic today.
Yeah, it is. And Laxey Corinthians, we're going to play that one in a couple of weeks, Tim. Next week we've got a full programme, and then the week after that is the Woods Cup prelim round. So we'll put Laxey and Corinthians on that one. And then we're probably the week after going to have to sneak on the winners of that game against Ramsey Youth Centre. We're still working on that. We don't want to disrupt the fixtures too much, but just looking at...
You don't want to slow the cup up either, do you?
Well, we don't, because, Easter comes in very, very quickly, and we want to make sure that everyone's getting a game of football. But Peel against St Mary's, absolute belter.
That's the draw, isn't it?
Oh, it's an incredible game, and we knew this was going to happen, didn't we? Because the top 5, top 6 teams are still in there. And, Peel, that'll be a big crowd. St Mary's, with Josh Kelly back in there, is making them look a lot stronger. When you look at the other one, St George's against Ramsey, St George's just want continuation of football, but they'll start off as slight favourites in that one. Russian, again today, battled well. They did everything that was asked of them, and they got the result, as well with Douglas Royal. With the young players that they've got there, are going to improve every game. And, Colby... it's a good pitch down there, so it'll make for a good game of football, but they're going to have to wait to see if they're going to play Laxey Corinthians or Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys.